Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is Thursday, and that's Event Ensemble Day. And we are here with Three's a Crowd, three DJs, to be followed by, shortly coming up, Three's a Crowd for photo booth, photographers, and many others in our group so that you can find out who they are and what they do that is unique. And today we have three DJs. And since I am one of the three, I am actually going to shut up and introduce you to the lovely, talented Lady Jewel Pearl, who is our co-host for this extravaganza. Take it
And
away,
that may
Pearl.
be the best smile in the history of women right there.
Okay, hold on a second, Curtis. A little, just a little.
Oh, Lord. Good morning, EE. Welcome to Three's a Crowd DJs. Very excited. I'm fortunate to actually know all our three DJs on the panel this morning. If you haven't, just a few quick house rules. If you weren't here the last time we did Three's a Crowd, what's going to happen is we're going to get to chat or really hear from all three of our DJs what's unique about them. But they can't share the same uniqueness. So you're going to get some three really amazing points about what's unique about them. If you have questions when we're going through this discussion with them, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will then answer those questions after they're done talking. But I don't want you to lose those questions. If you're like me and you think of a question and then 20 minutes later it's gone, don't worry, go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll be watching them and then we'll get to your questions after we get to hear from our amazing DJs. We're going to do a round robin style, but I will call their names. And we're going to open up with the amazing Jerry from Arizona DJs. He's looking like, whoa. It's like, well, we're getting right into it. I love Jerry. I've had the opportunity to work with him and his team, and so I'm excited to hear a little bit more about him. And so he gets to pick anything he wants to talk about. But one thing that I will say is that he and his wife are amazingly humble people, and they love and care so much about who they're working with and about creating the experience that works well for them. So Jerry, tell us a little bit more about you and how you got started. Go.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. Jerry Topete. I got started in 1985. I was just a senior in high school, and what started as a hobby became, a full-time job, a career. But what makes us different is during the events, and I don't know if that's a good enough introduction about myself, or do I need to elaborate more, or just talk about? Okay.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, well, I'm just Jerry. So what makes us different is during the events, what we do is we're almost like an on-site coordinator. What we do is we're constantly checking the bride and groom with the photographer. If for instance, we're gonna line them up for the grand entrance. We go outside, we go over the names. If we're gonna butcher a name, it's gonna be outside and not on the speakers, right? So we go out there with the pen, we write the names phonetically, we give everybody instructions. We'll tell the groom, when you come in, you go to the center, you're gonna spin, dip, and kiss, and you're not gonna drop her. And then after this, so we kind of guide them through this whole event, if you would. They're doing the first dance, and we tell the groom, we're gonna invite dad to come over. You need to stay right there, because a lot of times we'll invite dad, and then the groom just boom takes off, and here's the bride and the dance floor by herself. And even though we tell them this, they still kind of manage to forget. Some people forget and they just exit. And then while the father-daughter dance is happening, we'll go over to the groom and we'll say, hey, it would be really nice if you stand next to your mom. That way when I call you up here, you can escort her to the dance floor so she's not meeting you halfway. So I always think about being a gentleman-like, and I always put this like ladies first. So, if we're gonna introduce the parents of the bride, parents of the groom, flower girls, ring bearers, so we always kind of associate that for me. And just throughout the evening, if there's a do not play song, I hate the Cupid Shuffle, don't play it, and then we get like 20 requests for it. At some point, we'll walk over and say, hey, they keep asking for this song. Do you want us to play it, or you want to just? And most of the times, at this time, they're like, just play it. I'll go to the bar and get a drink or something, or they might just say, no, don't play it, and we won't play it. And so we always we're going to guide the guest, the dance floor. We rotate the dance floor so we don't have the same thing over and over and over. We want the elders to dance, then we're going to rotate for the younger people. Then wherever you get the majority of people dancing, we stay longer because it's a party.
Right. And you do that. And you just have a great team. You've passed that on. So I love how you said there's just a spirit of gentlemanly as your engagement. So thank you so much, Jerry. I can't wait to come back to you and chat a little bit more. Since we just have a few people who just popped in really quick, just a quick reset of the room. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat as you're listening to our DJ speak, and we will get to your questions after they're all done presenting. So don't feel free to go ahead and put those and not be worried about that. We are going to go to Mr. Curtis next, and I just call him our outdoorsy DJ. He loves being outdoors. I do not. Felicia and I were talking about it with Scott. We were on a little bit early, and he's talking about how he's gone a 5-mile hike already. And I'm like, I was just trying to be awake and cognizant so that, I could talk this morning. So, but Curtis, you have been a DJ since 1979. Long time.
If you guys do the math, those early customers took a real gamble hiring a 5-year-old.
That's what we're going to go with. Sure. So how did you get into being a DJ? Same question. How did you get into being a DJ? And tell us just a little bit about your backstory and your history.
Well, I had 3 or 4 experiences with music, profound experiences with music, even as a child, that, looking back, were little landmarks in my life that arguably changed the course of my life. One, I was 7 years old in 2nd grade. We had the music appreciation teacher come through. Not where you're playing recorders and all that stuff. This was somebody who'd come through and play a classical piece of music, and we talk about it. And I'm 7 years old, and she played Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. And it remains a favorite piece of classical music all these years later. But I was emotional about it at age 7. And when you're that little, you don't have any context. You don't have life experience. And I was frankly embarrassed that I was emotional. I was weepy in 2nd grade there, moved by this piece of music. Fast forward to when I was 12 years old, I had a little 2-inch speaker that you could put under your pillow and listen to AM radio at night. You could get stations from all over America. And I heard the song Come Sail Away from Styx. And it arguably changed the course of my life, because there's a great metaphor in that song about set an open course on a virgin sea. And when you're 12 years old, you're discovering your sexuality and your sense of humor, and you're exercising your own free will on your own life a little bit more. And that was my life, a life of possibilities laid before me. And the song's got this metaphor about the difficulty in seeing your dreams realized. But you keep dreaming, and now I'm 55 and I've seen the loss of some dreams, but you keep dreaming, the song still means something. But anyways, just some profound experiences with music, and, playing violin in the orchestra at school through middle of high school, just the experiences with the stage through that. Here I am. Who knew that it would be 41 years as a DJ now?
So how did all those profound experiences get you to be actually into the DJ profession? Because there's many ways you could have taken your
Yeah, exactly. But like I say, when I was 7, I had this experience with music. I didn't say at that moment, I'm going to be a DJ. I didn't even know what that was. But I played in a rock band when I was in high school. I played keyboards, and we did all the school dances and the skating rinks and the church dances around Northern Arizona, Winslow and Holbrook and Show Low and Flagstaff. And we kind of like a little touring regional band. We were high school kids, but it used to be you'd stick your head in the door at the dance. If there's a DJ in there, oh, screw that. I'm not going to that dance. I want a band, But DJs were just starting to happen more and more. And I tried to take all the good things that I learned from being a musician, stage presence and showmanship, the way you would program a set. And I said, I'm going to put on a DJ show that's as good as what a rock band would do. Because, you go to a rock concert, the lead singer doesn't step up to the microphone and say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the concert. He says, hello, friends. Now I don't say that at a wedding, but, you can play hip hop and have a rock and roll show. You can play country music and have a rock and roll show. It's about attitude. We break some guitars, we shout some amens, We shout some hallelujahs. We leave it all on the dance floor. We have a rock and roll show. That's kind of what I do. I took all the good things about live music and made a DJ show out of that. And on that subject, my first thing I wanted to say is I play piano for cocktail hour. So that's something that's very unique about me. There's something about live music that at my best as a DJ, I can't do it what live music can do. We invest in live music differently than you do in recorded music. So it's just a nice thing to add to cocktail hour and then switch to DJ for dinner and dancing. In fact, I just booked a bride for October a couple of days ago. Private residence way up on the hill. There's not enough parking. They're going to get a shuttle service. And she said, we're going to have a cocktail hour before everything so that gathering time with the shuttle service, piano would be perfect for that. I got the job because of playing the piano. And then we switched to DJ for dinner and dancing. Anyways, that's something that I add that's unique about me is playing piano, live music for cocktails.
Love it. That is awesome. And I love how you said that you can take any music genre and turn it into a rock concert, which is really quite fantastic. Lots of fun. Now we're going to go on to Mr. Scott Faver, who is versatile in a lot of things, but really when it's all said and done, he's going to bring the party to you. It's all about it. The party favors. And his statement is, it's your day, your way, your say. And I've had the opportunity to see that live in practice, and it's quite fantastic. So Scott, tell us a little bit more about the party favors and how you got into the world of being a DJ and an entertainer.
My favorite story, my favorite subject, me. My impetus story starts because I was a closet DJ. And for those of you who are thinking something different, I'm not talking about that, but a bedroom DJ, if you will. Wiki on turntables back. It's about 1979, 1980. And I really want to be a club DJ. And my brother and I were doing roller skating at the time. It's 1980, and it's not skate rinks like kids. It's alcohol and drinking and smoking and adults. It's a nightclub in the roller rink. And my brother, my twin, for those who don't know, goes over to the manager and says, my brother is 10,000 times better than that idiot you have in the booth, and you should hire my brother now. That would be me, the brother, who is now cowering in the corner about this big. I can't get small enough or hide fast enough in this moment because I am thoroughly embarrassed. So the manager picks me up by my scruff. This is a true story. And he says, you in the booth Wednesday, we'll see. So I drag in my crates of records and I set them down. I put up my monitor speaker and my headphones. I'm all set and ready to go. And about 15 minutes into the set, the door to the booth bangs open and the silhouette of the manager is standing there larger than life. And I look up and I say, oh my God, it's all over. And he looks at me and says, what are you doing every Wednesday, Friday, and Thursday? 15 minutes into the set. True story. I've never looked back. I've never had a job other than DJing my entire life. For 41 years since 1980, DJ is all I have ever done. So along the way, I figured out a few things, and I decided that it would be nice to help other DJs to learn what I've learned along the way. And so I've become the DJ's DJ. And then I teach other DJs not how to go wiki, but how to entertain, how to be engaging with their audiences and to do different things. I've had the joy of sitting down, breaking bread, coaching and watching Curtis. And he's done the same for me. We use each other as a sounding board that we can share ideas that will benefit our audience, and clearly very different audiences. But the ultimate goal is that they have a fun, unique, and memorable experience. And that's what I bring to the party.
Well, thank you. That's a fun story. I don't think I actually knew that was how you started.
I'm here for you.
So that was awesome. I was excited to hear that story and to hear how you got started, which is amazing. So we have Jerry, the gentleman, we have Curtis, the dreamer, rock and roller, and then we have Scott, who wanted to own the club scene over here. Already, we're starting to see the differences. So, Mr. Jerry, going right back to you, do you only do weddings, or what audiences do you cater to? And how is that different than potentially other DJs?
We will do whatever the client wants us to do. You know, we're a multi-op, so all these folders behind me are DJs, and so we have different languages we can do, different personalities, different event types. 3 of our guys work at radio stations, and so we, you know, corporate events, you know, you name it, we're there. You know, whatever the client wants for their event, then we're gonna make ourselves available for them. But it's our job to let the client know what could happen, what could, you know, and I know we do mostly weddings. We do a lot of weddings. We were on pace to do 500 events in 2020, and 2020 just kind of died. So you know, we're kind of like, let's wind this thing up again, you know, kind of thing. So we're you know, it was just the wheel just keeps turning and turning and turning. We have help here in the office. Josie's in the front here to greet the clients and get meetings prepared and everything. One of our DJs, Lois, his desk is over there, and then my wife is all the way in the back. She's got her own office. She actually has a door, so she kind of locks us out. But she helps a lot. She's, you know, I wouldn't be who I am without my wife. She's amazing. But we want people to be happy. You know, at our events, if people are not smiling, then we feel like we're not doing our job. Sometimes you can't pay them to dance if they're dancing, but they're in their chair doing this, and then you play a song like, yeah, it's like, well, we want to keep them happy. We want to make sure they have a good time. You know, we understand, you know, that sometimes people travel to see each other, but we'll do whatever the client pays us to do. We do, you know, it's funny because we just did a video. One of our videographer friends, James Lee, did a video for us, and he kind of interviewed us. And at the end of the video, Los, one of our DJs, said, you know, it's so much fun DJing. We're having so much fun. He's like, I'd even DJ for free. You know, we get paid to do this, but I'd even do it for free. And, you know, we still do events for free because we love it, but we always want to help people as well. Yeah. You know, there's charities, there's, you know, Make-A-Wish, you know, something, there's gotta be something. And I know that, you know, you put the seeds and then you're gonna sow eventually. So it comes back, and it comes down to being a good person. So the client hires you to play country music, then you play country. But if nobody's dancing, then it's our job to go tell the client, like, hey, they kind of want to hear Usher. You know, they want to hear the Cupid Shuffle. They want to hear, you know, some Little John, and they want to hear some Journey, and they want to hear some Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
You want me to continue with the country? Because they kind of want to, you know, so, you know, it's, again, communication with the client. And if they give us a script that we have to follow, then we'll just follow it. But we have to tell them what could happen. And I don't know if I'm going too long, but a quick.
No worries. One more point.
Okay, I'm doing an event Friday. Tomorrow I'm doing an event, and the lady's like, we're gonna do a 20-minute video, and everybody's watching, but I want to start it as soon as dinner starts. But they want to make it fun. They want to do trivia for dinner. So I'm like, well, first of all, you want sound for the video. You want people to be looking at the video. And then I'm doing the trivia. So, and then plus if I'm in the buffet line, I'm getting my food, I'm not paying attention to the DJ or the projector.
Right.
So maybe wait till the last table gets their food and then we can start, you know. So it's our job to be as helpful as possible, make sure that things are going to go well.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's great. I mean, again, you just have that heart of service, you and your whole entire team, which is amazing. And you bring that because you've had so many experiences working. And I just want to clarify, when you say multi-op, you mean multi-operation, right? You have multiple DJs that work with your company, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We could
And how
do
many DJs do you have right now?
all these folders in the back?
Yes, I'm not going to count the folders. So do you have a number you can give me?
15.
Like 18,
18.
like
So
16. I can't keep track. You know, and we still get people knocking on the door. Hey, do you guys have work? And you know, it's coming because 2020 kind of killed us. but
yeah,
it's coming back. It's going to get back to where it used to be. And never in a million years could I tell you I'm going to be a DJ for a living. There's like no way. There's like
here you are, and you've got your 18. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Jerry.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right, Curtis, you talked about the fact that you're able to play because you've got your amazing skills as a piano player. Obviously, you do weddings because you've mentioned it. I'm assuming you also do other corporate events, but are there other styles, other events that you do that would be unique to you?
Historically, weddings has been half of my business for all this 41 years. And the rest has been a mixture of either corporate banquets, awards presentations, or retail promotions, grand openings, private social occasions. I've got a good client that's one of the local resorts. I do pool parties all summer long. And then post-pandemic, I've been doing a cowboy dinner show for them on Tuesday nights, which you know, when the pandemic kind of started winding down, they wanted to pick up their cowboy cookout dinner show, and the company that they had used had gone belly up. A lot of the people had gone on to other jobs and they couldn't do it. Somebody in the meeting at corporate said, well, Curtis is part of the family. Let's at least ask him. So they called me and I said, you know, guys, thank you. That's not really in my wheelhouse, but I'm grateful. Could I write a script and maybe do 2 of your shows? And if it's not what you want, I'm not bothered, hurt, offended. I'll recommend somebody else or help you find something to put together. But let me have 2 weeks. And then if it doesn't work, I'm happy to do the pool parties and that'll be fine. And I just knew that I could lean on what I would do as a DJ, teach a couple of line dances and just kind of do that. And it worked the first night. They called me the very next day. That's exactly what we want. You got the contract. So the first night it was 23 minutes of music and about 6 minutes of talking. And then the next week I said, you know, I'm going to dump one of the songs and add some cool Arizona history stories. And then the next week it was, let's take another song out and let's add a little bit of stand-up comedy that I've learned from, you know, taking improv classes. And now the show is about 23 minutes of me talking and about 3 shortly edited songs, you know, line dances. And it's a cool show. You know, Wally Bornman, which is also in our group, he does the second half of the show at the campfire. People make s'mores and he does some campfire songs and cowboy songs. But what a cool thing it is to take all of the things that I've learned over the years, not just as a DJ, programming, mixing, storytelling, just speaking on a mic, stage presence. Most of my life as a performing artist has been with a piano in front of me or with DJ equipment in front of me. I'm standing out on this stage naked and it's scary. All I have is my voice and my presence to fill that stage. But it's been a great thing. I've really enjoyed doing this show. I'm not a cowboy, but you know, at the end of the night, somebody will come up to thank me for the good time they had. And they think that I'm a cowboy. They want to ask me questions about the horses over there in the corral. It's like, you know, I don't know nothing, but it's a beautiful thing that I've embraced this, a new element of being a performing artist. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, now you know we've got Curtis the Cowboy as well.
Well, incidentally, Dana Gibbons, I hired her the last day to do a video. She's working on that for me. So I'll post that for everybody to see just for fun. The last night of the show for the season. We'll pick it up again in September when it cools off.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We've had a couple more people join us before we go on to Scott. So welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat and we'll get to them after we've talked to all of our 3 DJs. I just want to say hello, welcome. And now we're going to go on over to Scott. Mr. Scott, again, I know you do corporate, you do weddings, but what is it different about you, right, with the clients that you're working that you bring, as you always say, to the party?
You know, I want to talk about the dance for a moment because it's so common that it's the electric slide, the Cupid shuffle, the wobble, and all of these very, very famous dances that happen at every event. And they're fine at every event. But if you want your wedding, your corporate event, or your celebration, your bar bat mitzvah to be different, then let's do a different dance. And one of the things that we offer, I refer to as the Sally dance. So your daughter is having a birthday, a sweet 16, or maybe a bar bat mitzvah. And we're going to actually, the week before the party, come over to your house. And we're going to have a pizza party. And I'll bring a little boombox or a speaker. You get to select the song, and you and your girlfriends or your boyfriends and girlfriends together, we will choreograph a brand new dance routine that premieres on the night of your celebration. And whatever your name is, that's the name of the dance. So if it's Billy, it's the Billy Bounce. If it's Jimmy, it's the Jimmy Jump or Jive or whatever it is. And then this dance routine premieres just like the electric slide or the cha-cha slide or whatever. It's the same concept, but it's your dance to your song. And 30 to 60 seconds into the routine, with a little record scratch, it's not fair that Jimmy gets to do this by himself with just his friends. Everybody should come on board. And so then they go out to the audience and they bring all the adults on. And now the adults are being taught how to do the Jimmy Jive with Jimmy and his friends. It's a huge, huge success, and it stands apart from all other dances and other routines. Pearl, you look scared.
But I'm just trying to imagine this. I mean, people barely do the Cupid Shuffle or YMCA. And so I find it impressive that you're able to convince a bunch of children or young teens, young adults, let me be specific, and their family and friends to come on onto the dance floor and learn that. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. I have that effect on events. Amazing.
Gosh. Well, we are down to our last round. So one more thing of fun uniqueness, and I'm going to leave it up to you. So Jerry, what do you want to leave us with? One last thing that you haven't talked about that is unique to you and your company.
Oh gosh. We and I think I already said it, customer service is huge for us. We want to make sure, that everybody's happy and everybody's having a good time. I can tell you that 99.9% of the events that we do, we get a hug at the end of the night. And, it's, you can't put money on any of that. When people don't feel like dancing, they're not big dancers, we'll play a slow song. Ladies, bring your hubby to the dance floor, all the couples, and they're dancing. And before the song ends, we're playing a ballad, and we get on the microphone and so the song's about to end and one of you is going to exit. The other one wants to stay. Grab a hold so they don't get off the dance floor, and we'll mix a song. We'll start the beat, the intro of another song, and so they're both kind of blending. And so you're playing a slow song, and now you get this beat, and then boom. And so we kind of trick them to stay. Sometimes, they don't want to dance. My son was with me one time, and I go, they're not dancing. So I played a line dance. He's like, that's like cheating. I'm like, well, they're gonna dance the line dance. You want them to dance. You want them to have fun, right? Another thing we've been doing is we'll do a group picture, and we used to wait till towards the end of the night, but now what we want to do is we want to do this before the actual open dance, because the minute some of the elders hear this, they just want to exit. Hey, yeah, great, everything was great. We want to go home now, and so we get everybody on the dance floor, bride and groom in the middle. They're gonna kiss. Everybody hands up. Find a window because somebody's hands blocking you, right? And we're gonna get everybody to scream on the count of three. They're gonna kiss. Everybody screaming. Oh wait, the best man. Your job is to come lay down and pose. And sometimes they're like, no problem. They lay down and pose. And sometimes they're like, man, what? Is this a rent? Is that a rental? No. then you don't have to answer to nobody. You can just clean it later. Get on the floor. Or is that a rental? Yes. Okay, no worries. It's not yours. You're gonna give it back to somebody, right? Lay on the floor. So either way, somebody's gonna lay it down on the floor, and we make it fun. It's just we make it fun.
I love that, and I can attest to it because, you know, as a planner, I've worked with Jerry's team a few times, and so definitely that group picture is a lot of fun, and people have a great time. I do have a follow-up question because, well, I can. You work, I mean, we just said that, 18 different DJs. So how do you imbue that to 18 very different personalities to still have that sense of gentleman care, of really wanting to bring the fun to their customers and clients? Like, how do you pass that on to 18 very different people and more?
So we like to meet the clients before so we can kind of match up their personalities. You know, we have some guys that are very, and then we have some guys that are like, yeah, like Scott right there. so, you know, we want to make sure that we get to know their personality. We type everything in our timeline. Our timelines are mostly bullet points. I can literally meet with the client, type the timeline. Hey, at 1:45 the song's gonna end. Well, then I'll just fix the song and say entire song for us, right? We meet with the clients. We'll play the song. Is this the song you're walking down the aisle to? Is this the song for your first dance? Okay, that's the right song with the wrong version because it's not it's the one out of the 100 versions they have, you know.
So Jay, I'm going to cut in just a little bit. So what I'm hearing you say is it's not so much about passing it on to the DJs, but it's about making sure that you have the right DJ with your right client. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
So you have such a nice mix of people on your team that you're able to go, okay, this personality will work best with this personality. So they still have that great experience then. Yeah.
We have a guy, his name is Phil, and I think you worked with Phil before. He is from Kenya, Africa. And he was raised in a town next to Little India. And so we get Hindi events, Middle Easterns, and he'll come up and whenever we get a client that I like have no idea, we can play the music, but we don't know what they're saying. We don't know what they're doing. So Phil comes in, oh yeah, and he has all the terminologies and they do this and they do that. This guy even does quinceañeras. I don't even know how, but he does it. And he gets 5-star reviews. He's amazing. And so, you know, we have some guys that are really, really fun and we have some that are really proper. And then you get like real short DJs like me. Like I'll come out to we all go out to the dance floor at the very beginning. Hey, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? And everybody's like, guys, I got my hand up. I'm standing up. Come on. So we break the ice right off the bat. We make it fun. It's important to have fun.
Yes, I would agree. I love it. Thank you so much, Jerry. Curtis, what are your last thoughts you would like to leave with us? Obviously, we have questions, but really, what's the last thing you want to bring out? I'm hoping it has something to do with dueling pianos because I happen to love dueling pianos. So.
Well, you know, I did work at a dueling piano club for a while, and it made me a better entertainer, and it made me a better piano player. Didn't care for the owner that much, and frankly, as a Christian type, I was being asked to do some things that it was hard to do in good conscience at a dueling piano club. But I enjoyed it. It's a good experience, and I'm glad for it. What I would say, the final thing for me, my mom died when I was a baby, and I was raised by a Black woman from Roxy, Mississippi, and I think it affected my DNA and it gave me some soul. I'm a better DJ because of that, you know. So from an expertise standpoint, I understand music theory probably better than most DJs. You know, there's a reason that we humans use music to march off to war, for a funeral, for a wedding, to worship, to pray, to make love, to study, to work out. We use music for different purposes. Tom Petty, one of the great artists, I got no use for him on the dance floor. You know, make love with Tom Petty, road trip with Tom Petty, but I just got no use for it on the dance floor. Donna Summer, I can't think of a DJ job where a Donna Summer song wouldn't fit on the dance floor. You know, I can't say that I've played it at every job, but it would fit most of the time. If I'm kind of in a place where Donna Summer, we're doing some disco or something, put some Donna Summer in there. Now, there's a reason that we humans are affected by music. It's part, from an evolutionary standpoint, it's good for us humans to be able to predict patterns. And music is one of those things that helps us predict patterns. Now, when you look at a painting, you don't read it. You don't read from top to bottom, left to right, blue, 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 green, brown, black, black. You don't read it. You just 1/50th of a second of exposure to a painting or a sculpture or a landscape, your brain can capture it. And it's subject to recall forever with some training, of course. But with music, you could identify a song with a split second of hearing the song. Oh, that's Love Shack. But you can't partake of the song except in time. It has to express itself over 3.5, 4 minutes. Now, imagine you hear a pulse. There's an equal distance of time between this one and this one, equal distance of time between this one and this one. Usually by here or maybe here, you should be able to predict there should be a pulse right about there because it was equal distance of time. You should predict in the future, there should be another pulse right about there. And when there is, the whole brain lights up when your prediction was right. Like an Elvis song, this order to stop and start again. Da, da, da. You know, when you've heard that Elvis song 1,000 times, but when you try to predict when the song's coming back, it's very satisfying when you're right on your prediction. When you've got a whole dance floor trying to stay in tune with a groove over a period of time, and they're updating their prediction of when the next pulse is going to be. You know what turns out even better? When the artist violates it, when it's not quite there, when there's a live drummer, it surprises you. So like sometimes I may have that Elvis song, the sort of stop, and I go to something else. It surprises them. So anyways, I know how to program. It's the arc of songs over a period of time. And then the mixing is the transitions of those songs along that arc. I know what's going on in our noggins that makes music so effective. Because I think people would agree that life sucks most of the time, or at least it's mundane. You walk in here and there, try to leave your mark where it ought to be, and you don't get to be hero every day. And sometimes there's death and disease and divorce and loss of employment and people losing their way. But every once in a while, somebody scores a win. They find love and they're going to get married. And you're going to put on your best clothes and invite the friends and neighbors, and you're going to slay the fatted calf, hire some entertainment, decorate with flowers. And my job is to elevate and frame those moments, because you tend to want to savor the good times of life and forget the bad ones. And I am hired to play for these occasions where people are celebrating something that happened that was good. The company had a great year on the backs of all the employees. And I want these moments to be something we can savor.
Yeah.
I use music effectively and help them, because when you can get the people where they're feeling it in their soul, they're going to forget that they had cold chicken. They'll forget what color the linens were. They'll forget what song I was playing, but they're going to have a moment that goes into their soul and they remember it forever. Yeah. And I want those moments to be properly expressed, framed, elevated. That's probably my gift is using music as one of my many tools to help people savor the goodness of life.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So, I mean, and for anyone that's been here from the beginning, you can hear the passion. You can hear the passion in Jerry. You can hear the passion in Curtis. You can hear the passion in Scott, but I mean, we always get the passion in Scott. So you get to hear the passion in Jerry. You get to hear the passion in Scott, that for them and their teams and who they're working with, it's really about encapsulating these moments in extraordinary ways. So you're getting that groove, that deep memory groove, because you had them at your event. So Scott, I pass it on to you. Last words before we get to questions.
I just want to say thank you so much to Jerry and Curtis, because it's such a treat to listen to fellow professionals in the industry, and your enthusiasm is just contagious, and as are your insights. So thank you both. So often an event is just a series of moments. We had an introduction, then we had a toast, then we ate, and then, and it's like just a whole series of things that happen. And we think that they're connected because we assume that they're going to happen at an event, at a wedding or a corporate event or a birthday party. But sadly, for the audience's perspective, it's just jarring. It's just here, and what are we doing next? And they get pulled. Wouldn't it be so nice, as Curtis has described eloquently about the music, the highs, the lows, the arc, the in, the out, to take them on this journey? the event should be the same, not a beginning, middle, and an end of a moment, and then the next beginning, middle, and an end of a moment, but instead a beginning, a middle, and a segue. What is it that takes you from this moment that is not quite ended that leads you into the next moment? And how smoothly can you make that transition that the audience just naturally comes along with you for the ride? It's magic. It relates to Sean's question earlier in the chat.
Yep. I
know you will, but I'm just letting you know that when we get to that, we'll talk about that, Sean. But suffice to say, I have this client who wants like 6 toasts, and they want to do all the toasts during dinner. Well, okay, that's fine. We can do a piece of dinner to sit down, and then a toast, and then another piece of dinner. And so most people would do just that. They would serve the salad, and then somebody would pick up the microphone and introduce the person. They would toast, and then the next thing would come out. And I'm like, no. Let's add entertainment. Let's add that segue to the moment. So when they toast, and now it's time for salad, it doesn't just come out. It's a salad parade, and we're playing Be Our Guest, and the staff have their chair. Pardon me, their what are those things?
Those
trays. That's the word I'm looking for. They have their trays, and they're coming out, and it's Be Our Guest, butters, and it's magic, and it moves from the toast right into the next piece, which is the salad. And after the salad is served and we introduce the next person to toast, we're going to have another segue where everybody's going to raise their napkins and they're going to put them in the air. We're going to play "Oh, When the Saints Go Marching In," and here comes the entree. And it's just fun for everyone. And it's not for everyone. Some people like something a little bit more elegant. And that's why you talk to the client and find out what their needs are. But essentially, a beginning, a middle, and a movement into the next. A segue.
I love it.
Thank you.
Again, as you've heard, at the end of the day, all 3 of our amazing DJs want to give their clients the extraordinary experience, whatever event they're having, to encapsulate those moments in such unique ways that they're not forgotten. So now we're going to go into questions. And of course, Scott alluded to Sean Eric's question about how do you work with other entertainments specifically. And I will go ahead and start with Scott since you were already speaking that, but I want all 3 DJs to have an answer for that question. How do you work with other entertainment that you're clients to have, or like in my case, if there's a planner, because Jerry, your team really works with doing coordinations, and so it's like how do you work with the other players of these events? Scott, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Curtis, and then we'll end with Jerry on that question. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat because it's open season, or you can also raise your hand as well.
I like to be the host. I like to be the glue, and I like to be the motivator between acts. I do not need to be on the stage front and center and everybody else is in the background. I'm happy to share the stage with the photographer, the videographer, the singer, the dancer, whomever else is part of the show, especially the magician. And Eric and I have worked together on several occasions, and so he knows that I'm not just going to say, okay, let's hear from the magician, and now he has to get the audience's attention. That's my responsibility to warm them up and get them ready so that when he hits the stage, boom, it pops. Do I get along with all entertainers and other individuals at the party? Not always, but I do try as best I can to make it appear as though we're a team that works together. And that's always the goal.
Fantastic. Mr. Curtis.
There's been times when I've worked with a magician or a musician or motivational speaker. It's always nice to talk about things in advance because, for instance, if the magician were going to do strolling magic during dancing, the music's going to be kind of loud. It'll be hard to talk in that intimate setting. I might suggest let's have the strolling magician for cocktails and maybe even a 10, 15, 20 minute stage portion as dinner's winding down before we get to the high volume. Just talk about it in advance. Sometimes, hey, my cousin plays guitar. He's coming to the weddings from Nebraska. Can we plug into your stuff? He just brings his guitar and I'd have to bring a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm happy to help with that. In fact, if he arrives on Wednesday, I'm happy to meet him. He can come to my shop. We can plug the stuff in, make sure it works. He's comfortable. It sounds the way he wants it to sound. Because I want whoever's singing at the wedding and playing to feel confident, and they know what it's going to sound like. That we're all worked out, all the bugs. And if I find out that they need this chord or that chord, I can go through the road case and grab it, make sure that we're right. Even from when you say other entertainers announcing the toast, I want those people to be comfortable. I coach them in advance. Here's how far you put the mic from your mouth. I'm going to have you standing right here. The mic is right there. You can take it out of the stand. If you take it out of the stand, move the stand out of the way so it's not in the pictures, So I coach people so that all the things flow well.
Love it. And even just talking about holding the mic, that's very important because people talk with their hands, so the mic's going all over the place. You're like,
and generally speaking, that's why I like it on a stand, because then they can, you're right. When people get nervous, they hear themselves and they drop the mic down to their belly. It's like, if in the stand, you have to stand there, In fact, every once in a while, if somebody hears their voice and they back up, I'll just put my hand in the small of their back and push them back forward to the mic, If it's important enough to be said, let it be heard.
Yes, I love it. And Mr. Jerry, how about you?
Oh gosh, it's the different cultures we're just rowdy. They want loud music. They want loud. The speakers are screaming for mercy, but they want loud. And so we make them feel welcomed and everything, but we don't want them to use our equipment, because they get the microphone and then they start singing, and we tell them, don't yell into the microphone because it comes in hot. And some of the venues that we work out of, the speakers are already installed or hanging up. It's our equipment. So, we're part of the package. We get to use our equipment. So whenever they have somebody from the outside, they want to just come and plug and play. But at the end of the night, and I've had this before, hey, thanks a lot, man. You saved our life. And then I turn on the sound the next day, and then the speakers popped or something like that. And it's a whole process to replace a speaker. I had a groom come up, and he brought this guy. It was funny. He brought this guy, and he said, "Hey, Jerry, how's it going?" And I'm great. Everything's great. How's everything with you? He's like, great. And we both look at this guy, and he's like, the guy's like, I'm an artist. And I'm like, so what do you draw? Right? You're not an artist. And he said, I'm an artist. And I'm like, I said, so we are not equipped for you. So first of all, people are dancing. I'm not going to kill the dance floor for somebody that wants to take the spotlight from the bride and groom, right? So second, I told them, this is what I told them. I said, I'm not equipped for you. I said, here's what happens. You get the microphone and you cover the entire head of the microphone. And then you leave this little tiny opening and you scream as loud as you can into my microphone. And my speakers are screaming for mercy. And at the end of the night, when you're done singing, you're going to give me the microphone. You say, thank you. And I have to go disinfect this whole thing because he's been spitting in it. And my speakers are suffering. It takes life away from that. So, it does, we do get loud, but there's got to be a level where, and it's just the different cultures, they just want it louder. They want loud, and it's like, it's fine. So whenever they have an outside entertainer, just bring your own equipment. Hey, we're going to take a break. They're going to take care of you right now, and everything's great. If it's a ceremony and somebody just wants to sing, okay, give me the track. Email me the song you're going to sing, because when we play the song, they're singing, they look at us and they're like, that's not, I'm like, this is what you asked for. And they're like, no, can you change the key? I said, what's the key? I open a door with the key. That's all I do. I don't sing, right? I don't know this. And so we learned that really quick. Like, you want to sing a song, you need to email me the track you're going to sing, because the most awkward moment is in the moment, and they look at you and they're like, "It's not it." I'm like, "Don't look at me. I'm not. There's nowhere to hide. There's nothing to do. The guests don't know what's happening, so we need to act like everything's normal. If we panic, it's gonna be chaos, right? So we want to, yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry
So,
brings,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, Jerry brings up a really good point. all of us, whether we're photographers, magicians, venues, all of us, we do our best to prepare in advance for all eventualities in all circumstances. But we also deal with people, and people are not always as prepared, or they don't do this professionally as we do. And so they do think that they can just show up and, can I plug in my iPhone? Or can you, play it off of a YouTube station, which is illegal? Or, all this stuff happens. Or they want the key change. They give you the song, but it's not in the right key. They assume that you have a karaoke player that can pitch it up or pitch it down. And it's not standard equipment. The best you can do is just grin and bear it sometimes, and do all that you can in advance. And then on the day of the event, put your professional face forward.
So anything that I will look like the idiot if it goes wrong, I want to control it. I'll take my lumps if I screw it up, but anything I can do in advance to avoid those things that we've just discussed, I don't want to look like an idiot. And Frank, I don't want the other people to look like idiots either.
Right.
I want them to succeed. I want it to be great. I want them to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is that, we're not the most affordable DJs. We're professionals. And so we definitely need to make sure that we don't hurt our reputation, because, the bride and groom, they gave me the first dance just now, give me a USB, plug it in, and in the middle of the song, it just cuts off.
Yeah.
Everybody looks at the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to put our
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
we
don't want to put ourselves in that position, because we're professionals. The preparation is everything.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. I know all about preparation as a planner. And that, when you talked about that, Jerry, just about being professional and not being, you're not the least expensive DJs on the block, right? That goes into Melissa's question, where it says, how do you structure your packages? And do you have additions, do you have things where they can add lights or trusses, dancers, other different things? And so, Jerry, since you were just talking about that, I'll throw that to you, and then we can go to Curtis and then Scott.
Yeah. So right now we're at $300 an hour. If it gets to be like a super long day, we'll give a discount. If we have a partner venue where we're not part of the package, but we are a preferred vendor and we go to the open houses and stuff, we might give an hour for the discount. We don't have, I'm going to be purchasing some uplights, because I just got a quote for an event. Because when somebody calls me for uplights and stuff like that, I don't want to deal with that. I want to be focused on the music, on the DJ, on the event. I don't want to be worried about lights. But I got quoted for 20 uplights, 2 moving heads, and a technician for 4 hours, $1,250. So I'm like, $1,250. I think I need to buy some lights and hire somebody to work the lights. so still, as a DJ, I don't want to deal with that, because I want our DJs to be focused on the event, not on why is the light not working. And so this is maybe, I think it's my personal opinion, okay? If I'm going to hire a photographer and a videographer for my personal event, I don't want to hire the same company, because I want the video guy to worry about the video, the photographer to worry about the photography, because the photographer is here and he's like, move the camera. They're talking to each other. I don't need that. See what I mean? So I don't want to bring this on to our company and have to be like, well, that lights over there's not working. Well, we're working on, we're doing toast right now. We're right in front of everybody. I don't need to be over there, right? So we are thinking of adding some things to upsell, like some lights, and then just having somebody there to do strictly that, because I don't want my guys to focus on any of that.
Right. I mean, you do, at least you used to offer, some of like the smoke screen, like walking on clouds things, but no more.
No, I don't. It's one of my DJs owns that. One of my DJs has that show with the guy on stilts, the dancing on the cloud, the sparks, the love letters. He has a photo booth. He has the bobbleheads. He'll bring like Pitbull and Bad Bunny and Little John to your party. And so they hype up the crowd. But yeah, I don't want to deal with that. It's just when you deal with a lot of people, especially teens, forget it. I don't want to count on them. They're entitled.
Yeah, no worries. We are just coming to the top of the hour, so I want to make sure I get to Curtis and Scott to be able to answer that same question. And then if you have a few minutes more to stay around, Scott, Curtis, and Jerry, we have a couple more questions as well. If you can, we'd love you to stay. If not, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone in the audience as well for the time. But Curtis, I will throw that question to you. Structuring your packages, and do you bring any additions to the party?
At my core, I'm a DJ, and my package is to be the DJ and the master of ceremonies. Provide an extra sound system for the ceremony. That makes sense. I have a dance floor lighting rig that's overhead. And the reason I want that is because I want to control the lighting effects. Sometimes I want the 2 spotlights on me when I make an announcement. Other times, like when the Elvis song stops, I want the lights to go off. It's kind of fun. And then they come back on when the sun comes back on. So I do want to control my lighting rig for the dance floor. I wish I didn't have to have uplights, but I feel like I had to have a few to be competitive. Somebody else asked a question about how do you combat the young guys? Well, we're going to hire this other guy because they got the photo booth. Well, why are you calling me? You must want me. Here's the price. I don't want to deal with all those other things, but I have to have a few basics to be competitive. I've got these, I enjoy woodworking, so I've built these beautiful oversized wooden lawn games, big Connect 4 and big Jenga, and a lawn Yahtzee and cornhole sets. So I've got a few of those that when I'm going to the event, that's one thing that I can put out and not have to fuss with. But it's just throw an extra road case in the van when we go into the event and make a couple more bucks. But at my core, I'm a DJ, and I provide the proper sound system. And then I've got a few basics to sweeten the pot sometimes to be competitive, but I wish I didn't have to have those.
Yeah, I understand. And Scott, how about you?
We just recently restructured our pricing because we recognized that there were really just 3 things that we sold: the DJ entertainment experience, the big screen projector, and all of the entertainment that comes with that screen, and then a ceremony system, which is a separate system. So when the ceremony's done, you don't have to pick that up and complete the system that's in the main room. That's the ceremony. And then when they transition from the ceremony to the reception, or if they're in both places at the same time, there's no break in the continuity. Ceremony music, background music is still happening. And then the reception, as the guests arrive, the music is already playing and the big screen is up, and that's the way we do it. And then we discovered that we only do 1 event each day. And so 1 became the best solution. So we now have 1 price that includes everything. And we do 1 event per day. And I'm the one DJ that you have to deal with. So if you don't like my persona, if you don't like my style, you don't like what we're bringing to the party, that's okay. There's Curtis, there's Jerry, and there are other choices. But I'm the one choice that brings these 3 things for the 1 price. And it doesn't matter whether you're 2 hours or 20 hours. Doesn't matter whether you are that you want the screen or you don't want the screen, you need the ceremony package or you don't need it. It doesn't matter. It's 1 price and it covers everything.
Thank you. That's awesome. Well, we are just at 10 and everyone's time is precious. We have one more question from Stephanie Phoenix Santa, and I'll just throw that out there. But again, if you have to get going, thank you so much for being part of 3's a Crowd DJ EE here this morning. It was great to see all of your lovely faces. We'll throw out Miss Stephanie's question about, as Curtis alluded to. So Curtis, I'll start with you. The newer people coming in or younger folks coming in and pricing themselves so low that it is ridiculous. Again, as a planner, I see these prices. I'll even have clients come to me and like, well, I can get a DJ at this. And I will legitimately look at them and go, then they're probably not good for what your need, because I know what professionals look like and I know what they charge for having that professional. And I just flat out tell them that. So how do you all have to deal with that?
Well, this will sound really cocky and arrogant, and that's not intended, but I'm not worried about them. Because in part of my icebreaker when I'm having a sales presentation, now you've attended a wedding, you've attended a corporate event. Tell me about the band. Tell me about the DJ. What was good? What was bad? Without fail, it's the horror story about, oh, my cousin's wedding, the DJ, and they tell their story. And without saying it, I say, you don't want that to happen at your wedding? Here's the price. everything that you say, it can be traced back to you trying to cut corners on the price. You're spending $50,000 on this event, and you're trying to save $500 on the DJ. And okay, imagine your guests come in, they see the linens. Oh, I can't believe she chose these linens. There's nothing wrong with the linens. It's just not your taste. Sit down and shut up and eat your chicken. They're not going to leave. You know, imagine the cake falls off the pedestal. It'll be probably be a charming story for your wedding, actually, but they're not going to leave. If the DJ sucks, as soon as dinner's over, hey honey, let's see if we can get out of here. You really want to spend all that money, and in an effort to save $500 on the DJ, your guests are going to leave and not celebrate the wedding. You know, so what happens is the customer calls me back. Hey, we talked to this other DJ. He'll do it for $800. Oh wow, that's a great price. Why are you calling me? And I'll be silent. Well, because we want you. Oh, that's great. Let's sign the contract. Can you give us a break? What are you going to leave out? You know, if you want the event to happen with the things that we talked about, here's the price. You know, so again, it sounds cocky, and part of this is just because I am solvent. I am financially stable. Pandemic didn't hurt me. I am debt free personally and in business. I had a great emergency fund. I hustled plenty of other work. I did just fine. I'm not desperate. And in fact, I don't refer the cheap guys. Can you refer somebody cheaper? No, I regard this industry too much. I refer the Scotts of the world and the Jerrys of the world that charge a professional fee.
I love it. Scott, Jerry, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, it's we get that a lot too, you know. And so if you're going to go buy a Mercedes Benz, are you going to go to the Toyota dealership? No. You want the Mercedes Benz, you call Curtis, you call Scott, you call us, because we are the best at what we do. And we create memories. And exactly, they're not going to remember what they had for dinner. And I tell the clients, like, hey, if your DJ ruins your event, you didn't waste the money on the DJ. Your whole investment's out the window.
Right.
Your whole investment. That's going to be. This is what I tell them. That's going to be the most expensive dinner you've ever had, because they're going to eat and they're going to leave, just like Curtis said. And it's the truth. And so I think the most important part for us is to be honest with them, and you know they trust you. Once you earn that trust, you need to maintain that. You can't say you want a horse and a pony on that wall. Sure, I can get it for you. You know you can't get it. Why tell them you can get it? You know, I want the moon right here. Well, I can rent you a telescope, but I can't bring you the moon. So that's the reality, that sometimes we need to bring people back down to earth. You know, hey, I want these flashing lights and I want smoke and I want to appear. It's not a music video. It's real life. You want all this? We can get the people to do it, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, probably more than you rented the hall. We can do it. I know people, but you know, then the whole subject, everything changes because they don't want to pay.
You know, the interesting thing is they say that they want a suit, but they don't really need a suit. What they need is a tuxedo. They say that they want a photographer because they think that they need pictures, but what they really need is an album that will last a lifetime. DJs, we actually bring everything together. We make the food taste better. We make the environment for the photographers to take great pictures that allow everybody to say, that's what we want to remember. But if the DJ's not there in spirit and in passion, then we talk about that they leave. But the truth is, there's nothing for the photographer to shoot. There's no reason for the guests to stay. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to stay for the cake. I'm sure they're glad that they did because it was tasty, but I'm not sure who are going to stay for the cake. No difference to Priscilla, which is why if you have a lousy DJ, make sure you cut it early. Jerry's laughing. The next thing is, typically they don't call me, and they probably don't call Curtis because they need a DJ, and they don't call Jerry because they need a DJ, because they know better. They call us because they're looking for entertainment. They're looking for an experience that will last a lifetime. And that's what we bring to the party.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, Curtis, Jerry, and Scott. Are there any final questions? I don't want to rush it. Just want to make sure that if you have any questions, this is as they do for the bar sitting. This is your last call for questions. So I'm going to do a countdown of 3.
This is not a last call for alcohol?
No, it's a last call for questions.
Well, let me just say thank you, Lady Jewel. Pearl, you were a delight, a great hostess, very gracious, great questions, led us right down the merry path, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh,
And Jerry and Curtis, what a treat, gentlemen. Thank you.
My pleasure to associate with all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great and wonderful day. Until next time.
We'll see you at the party.